and the Dallas Cowboys. Anyone a Cowboys fan in here? Anyone? All right. So it sounds like they're riding a little bit with
It's a bunch of Stephen A's in here.
That's right.
It's a bunch of Stephen A's in here. He planted it.
That's right. So the Eagles are riding a 4-game win streak, 8-2. They have a sizable lead in the NFC East. They prepare to take on the Cowboys this weekend. But yes, there continues to be turmoil within the locker room, despite the team's impressive record. Recent reports suggest that players have grown frustrated with Jalen Hurts and his reluctance to throw the ball, especially in tight coverage. Yesterday, Jalen Hurts responded to the criticism. Here it is.
I guess I get a lot of attention when things are going well and when things are not going so well. And so I never run away from holding myself accountable and take great pride in what we do on off. Go out there and play as a team and what our flow is. And so we obviously got work to do, and I think that obviously starts with me.
Things haven't been brought to you directly.
I don't want to get into that. I know it hasn't, though.
How about you personally?
Y'all bring it to me. I mean, I think it's a bit of a different thing. Again, I don't want to get into the weeds of anything ultimately.
So, is the drama with Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense something or nothing, Steve?
No, I think it's something. I think it's something, but it's a byproduct of what we're witnessing throughout the rest of the NFC. When you look at the Detroit Lions, you can't ignore them. When you look at Green Bay, you can't ignore them. When you look at Tampa, despite their 2-game losing streak and some of the injuries, you still can't ignore them. When you look at Seattle and LA, that's very, very real. And you're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles and you're saying you're just not what you were last year. Last year, you were significantly more prolific. Saquon Barkley was having an exceptional year, rushing for over 2,000 yards, 2,005 to be exact. You look at them right now, they're 25th in total offense, they're 28th in pass offense, they're 29th in third down offense, even though they're pretty exceptional with their red zone offense. They got the best red zone offense in the National Football League, primarily because of the tush push. The fact is, you're looking at a guy like A.J. Brown, who's getting about $32 million. He's an all-world receiver. He has been very, very flagrantly unhappy. Devontae Smith hasn't said anything because he usually doesn't, but he did say something earlier this season. You look at Saquon Barkley, he was averaging nearly 6 yards a carry last year. He's down about 3.2. You're looking at a level of production. You expect more from them, and you're not getting it. And what A.J. Brown said a couple of weeks ago, I think is really prophetic from the standpoint that was last year. This is this year, and we see other teams having made adjustments. We need to make adjustments as well. And so when you have players that have been outspoken enough to bring attention to the issue, and you've seen a coach and a head coach relatively try to downplay it, eventually it's going to catch on. What they're saying is, we in week 11, we passed week 11 now. This is getting down to the nitty-gritty, and we got to get our stuff, we got to get our shop in order. That's what you're hearing, and it's gotten to the point where even Jalen Hurts has to admit that.
Go ahead, Cam.
It's like every single time I talk to Philly, everybody's on pins and needles waiting to see what I got to say. But to be honest with you, you don't get reports like this from thin air. They're coming from somewhere. And when you're talking about, specific details of that piece, is throwing in tight coverage, it really is in reference to when you think of a guy like Devontae, when you think of a guy like AJ, when you even really think about, your tight ends, tight spaces equate to what they refer to, as everybody refers to as a football term, chance man. Yeah. Just give me a chance. A.J. Brown is a chance man where somebody, or would somebody say a 50-50 ball? Well, when you got a guy like A.J. Brown, it's more like 80-20. And in some cases, it's 90-10. So when you're not getting opportunities to make plays, the frustration then comes to say, we're an offense that is well and capable of producing way more. Are we winning the football games? Yes. Is it becoming a distraction that I'm voicing my opinion because I want to hold my team accountable and there's an expectation here to dominate? Yes. So that is something that you really have to take into consideration, and I've said it time and time again. The Philadelphia Eagles have been able to mask a lot of their insufficiencies because they have the ability, or they have been winning. Take away winning, and it's a muck down there. So
you can't take away winning, though. I don't know when we got in this. You know what happens to Jalen Hurts? It's easy to attack a man that never defends himself. He never defends himself. He never says, this is what I do or this is what I don't do. Let's talk about 50-50 balls. Every ball with A.J. Brown is a 50-50 ball because he doesn't run a route tree that in any way confuses you. There's no creativity to this offense. If he runs a stop, the man's in his hip pocket. If he runs a go, the man's in his hip pocket. So every time you throw it to him, it's a 50-50 ball. And then we got all of this stuff. You know what happens? People have their own perceptions, their own experiences, and they impose them on other people. The people in Philadelphia think that about Jalen Hurts. You don't know that that's coming from his locker room, because if it's coming from their locker room, where is it coming from Jared Goff's locker room where you don't even score double digits last week? Or when you play the Minnesota Vikings, you are getting pressured, you are getting sacked, you are turning the football over, but we watch Jalen Hurts go ham on them. I don't understand why this dude has to be treated this way and talked about in this manner with all that he's accomplished. Everybody else that accomplishes what Jalen Hurts does, we give him the benefit of the doubt. We sit around and we say, oh, we saw him do it in the Super Bowl twice, not once, but twice. Oh, we've seen him step up whenever he needs to. His team's 8-2, and they're leading the NFC again. But still, we questioning him? Bro, we got to quit with that and finally say to ourselves, okay, let's truly watch the film and talk about what everyone's doing.
RC, respectfully, you're wrong. And I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. Because it's not us. It's not us. It's his team. Now, let me tell you, it's his team. Now, I don't recall any of us. Now, the man has thrown for under 200 yards 6 times this year. We didn't say anything about it. They won the last 2 games. They scored 26 points. We didn't say much about that. His teammates are saying something about it. Now, one in particular, I got it. But I think the one thing that we really, really need to pay attention to what Jalen Hurts said was nobody has come up to him. We've seen Nick Sirianni speaking on it. We've seen A.J. Brown speaking on it. As a guy that worked in Philadelphia for 17 years as a reporter, I trust that those reporters are getting that stuff from somewhere. They ain't making it up. So I'm saying to you, I look at Jalen Hurts, and I'm saying 51-14, best record in football with him as a starting quarterback, all right? 2 Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl champion. He's got a better record over the last few years than Patrick Mahomes. And he just busts Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City's living you-know-what in the Super Bowl. We know that he's the reigning Super Bowl MVP and what he brings to the table. But the reason why this has been a story for weeks is because of what's going on inside that Eagles locker room that they have let out to the public. It's not the media. Right. It's not pundits talking about him. It's them. They're the ones.
No, it's one man. It's one man, and it's the rest of the team. It's the coaches. It's the other receivers. It's the running back having to answer questions about that. Saquon Barkley was all world last year. Over 2,000 yards rushing. Got him a new deal. He's averaging 3.2 yards a carry. Nobody's questioning that. Nobody's questioning whether or not the offensive line is playing at the same level they were playing at. They're not questioning if Kevin Patullo is the right guy as the offensive coordinator.
But is it one guy or is it one guy speaking up on behalf of many others who don't want to speak? Y'all would know that better than me. I'm asking.
It may be one guy, but a free agent, is that one guy? Or is it somebody that really has some weight that really doesn't really want to come to the forefront to out their guy? You've been in the league before. You know how the league operates. When somebody says something that's a little bit different than when somebody really says something that matters. Now, Stephen A. Smith, from your particular point, you're a columnist. When you see a report that reports of players voicing frustration, they don't just get that from anything. You have sources. So on both sides, we can at least collectively agree to say, hey, it may be one person. It may be 2. It may have been an utter that somebody saw in the past, but when you start to see who it came from, that's what will make it even more interesting about this developing story.
Okay, let's move on. Let's go to the Bucs because we are here in the state of Florida. Any Buccaneers fans in here? Okay. A much more welcoming response, I think, than the Cowboys. So the Bucs have watched their lead in the NFC South shrink dramatically after losing 3 of the past 4 games to stiff competition. The Lions, Patriots, and Bills, and the road doesn't get not any easier this weekend. On Sunday night, the Bucs are set to face a Rams team that's currently tied for the best record in the NFC. Since starting 5-1, the Bucs' odds to win the NFC have moved from plus 750 to 14-1, which is 6th